a meeting set up for mid-February, kind of our second meeting, that will talk about school programming. So it's an exciting time to talk about School 8, and make sure that you sign in, make sure you have your email address so we can keep you updated on everything that happens as we go through design and construction and programming and all those exciting things. So my name is Dr. Monroe. You guys know that I'm the superintendent, and it is good to be in Liberty. So I want to recognize we have governing board members that are here, Member Bixler, Board President Todd, and Board Vice President Brian Parks. So I appreciate our board being here, and we also have staff here. And then after I'm done, after 5 minutes, I'll let Bob introduce kind of our architects who will run the meeting. So Carmen, as you're helping with the online group, if something happens, holler at us so we can make sure that you guys get as much from being in this meeting as the people in the room here. Here's kind of our...
Great. Thank you.
Okay, here's our agenda for tonight, you guys. I'm going to just do a little introduction here, and DLR is going to handle some of the introductions. We're going to talk at you a little bit at the beginning, and then we're really going to engage you for your feedback and input on some preliminary drawings as we're looking at the design of the school. Okay, so be patient for the first little bit, and then the second half of the meeting will be a lot more interactive. So let me show you on this map, just so you're aware, to put in some context. You can see our proposed site for school number 8, and Bob will kind of update us where we are with kind of our land acquisition there. There's still a few things to happen, but we're very confident that will be the location of school number 8. You'll notice where it is in relations to Blue Horizons, Freedom, and Las Brisas. So as you, one thing I wanted to tell you is if you came to the meeting tonight thinking we were going to talk about the boundaries, we're not going to talk about the boundaries quite yet. There will be a process for that. That will be a meeting that we will have and kind of a committee. And if you want to be involved in that, we'd love to have you. However, what I want to tell you tonight is if you look at this slide, that if you live within the red, it's likely that some of those school boundaries will change as we open school number 8. So if you attend Las Brisas, Blue Horizon, or maybe even Freedom, some of those lines could potentially change. We don't know what those are. The final boundary decision is made by the governing board, but really soon we'll be studying that, and we'll make those decisions with plenty of time for parents to make decisions. We'll provide transportation like we continually do, but I just wanted to say that at the very beginning, because if someone came to this meeting thinking we were going to draw boundaries, there'll be a process for that we'll take to the board, and we're not quite there yet. But a few things you need to know, items of note for school number 8. We don't have a principal, but the principal position has been posted. A planning principal. So the idea is the principal works a year ahead with the construction company. They hire the staff. They work with the community and the parents. And so the principal will do all those things in the year leading up to the school being started. Planning principal is really important because principals, as you know, are under contract, and they work in year-long contracts. So if you don't hire a planning principal, you end up hiring a principal to start like a few weeks before the school opens, and it's just a tough runway and almost a recipe for disaster. So we're really hoping here in the next month or two to be able to take a really good candidate to the board that would start working with us in July, the July before the school opens. We don't have a school name. That hasn't been identified, nor a school mascot yet. Those are things that will go through a board process that we will take to the board. School boundaries have not been identified. That'll be happening soon. We will provide transportation. And right now, because of limited funding to build the school, our bond failed, as you know. Part of the bond funds were to help supplement and build school number 8. We do have funds coming from the state government, from the Arizona state government, from the school facilities board to help us build the school, but we'll have to build it in phases because we don't have enough money to build it the right way at the very beginning. So because of that, there won't be 7th and 8th grade the first year. Okay, maybe even the second year. We'll have to see how that goes. But it'll be a preschool to 6th grade type of campus, okay, at the very beginning. We do suspect, looking at our numbers with Dr. Sloat, that the school will start with a lower enrollment the first year, maybe 300 to 400 kids. Again, these are just all projections as we work with our demographics, including some of our preschool kids that might be there. And we'll be able to grow into the school. As you look at kind of where the land is over there by Perryville and Yuma, there's a lot of dirt around it. So there'll be eventually a lot of homes being built. However, the school may be the first completed rooftop that you really see. So it's going to really start smaller but absorb all the nearby growth. So there's a lot of exciting work to come, and today is kind of the first step. The school will not open. Our anticipated opening is the first day of school in 2025. So that's not in 6 or 7 months. Okay, that's a year and 6 or 7 months. So we're 18, 19, 20 months out, but it's really important that we're having these discussions because it takes time to order materials and plan all these things so that we have a very nice runway to have a very successful school. So I thank you for being here tonight. I'm going to turn it over to Bob, who's going to kind of write us through what we're going to do and introduce DLR tonight. Does anybody have questions about just those 2 slides that I went over, just some basics on school aid at the beginning that you might want to know? As I said, make sure you leave your email with us. We'd love to have you be as involved as you can on the school. This is a very exciting thing for Liberty and exciting to be in a growing community. So Bob Young is our Director of Operations. We're really happy Bob is here. Our governing board approved his hire 3 or 4 months ago, and he has hit the ground running. It's almost as if he's been here 4 years already with all the things that he's doing. So I'll turn it over to Bob.
Thank you, Dr. Monroe. Welcome, everybody. Appreciate you being here. It's one of the things I like to say. One of the things I like to say is excitement is building. So we're going to, like you said, we're going to hit the floor running here. I want to turn the time over to David Schmidt. He can introduce his team with DLR Architects. As you know, we're doing a site adapt from Blue Horizon, but because we're only using the School Facilities Board or School Facilities Oversight Board committee money, we'll do some value engineering on this building, and it's not going to be probably all the fuzzy make you feel good things that Blue Horizon has, but it'll be a good school where kids can learn and be safe, and we'll get it built to the best we can and do everything that we can do to keep everybody happy. So with that, I'll just turn it over to David Schmidt with DLR Architects.
Thank you, Bob. As Bob said, my name is David Schmidt. I'm an architect with DLR Group. DLR Group is a national architecture firm that specializes in education, but we are based right here. Our group is based right here in Phoenix. What that means to you is that I hope that we can bring lots of precedents of what's out there and the future of what education looks like, and bring lots of ideas to you and to the planning people here at Liberty to really create a school that benefits your students to the best extent possible. So thank you for having us here today. I am joined in the room by Kristen Taylor Foley, an architectural designer here in Phoenix, interior designer Megan DeBella, and Juliana Norvell, who does community engagement and pretty much keeps us all in line. Indispensable member of the team. Online, I've got Carmen Wyckoff, who's actually my boss, but she's taking notes today. So anyone, I should mention, anyone online, if you chat, you can chat. Carmen and others will be monitoring that and keeping track of those comments as well. And so we will assimilate all of those with what we get here today and post those for you. Who else? And Lisa Lazar, who is also an architect, and Kelly Mabry could not be here today due to some personal matters, but she is also another architect working on this project as well. So please feel free to chat with any of us afterwards or wherever, and appreciate the time. So a little about the project. As Dr. Monroe mentioned, we will be building this potentially in phases. So the SFOB funds a certain amount of square foot for a certain amount of students. And so we are trying to hit that pretty closely based because that's what they're giving us money for. What that gets us is about a little over 70,000 square feet of school space, and it gets us all the basics. It gets us classrooms, it gets us a cafeteria, it gets us a library, it gets us a multi-purpose room. Some of the things it does not get us is a competition gym, so a dedicated gymnasium, some additional specialty classrooms, some extended capacity of general classrooms as well. And so hopefully those are all those things that we are planning for in the design of the school, but will probably not be built in this first phase, pending some future funding source, either through a bond or whatever coming down the road. So where we are right now, we are in schematic design. So if you look at that bubble on the right, it's the very beginning of the process. Schematic design it means that we are starting to lay out the school. We're figuring out what the programming is, how it lays out on the site, beginning to talk about what it's going to look like. What we have not done is design development, which is to develop that, and construction documents, which is to actually figure out how to help people in the construction industry actually build that. And so you guys are in right on the ground floor. And that's why we're looking for your feedback today, because that will help us go through the schematic design process and actually create something that we hope is unique to Liberty and to this neighborhood. Dates, we will be through the spring here going into design development and construction documents with the intent of wrapping this up in May, at which point we can go to the city, obtain permits. Contractor will be on board. We will begin construction as soon as we can, hopefully in the summer or early fall of this year, with the intent that we are opening next July for school to start on August 4th, 2025. As Dr. Monroe said, that's about a year and a half from now. Not this summer, but a year and a half from now. Make sense? Cool. So before we jump into, as we mentioned, we would like to engage you, and we want all of your input today. A couple of things that we thought would be might help us as we go through, and this is not to say that these are off the board, but these are things that we call norms that we've discussed with the district. It has to do with what we can afford to build. It has to do with efficiency of construction, then building this in phases. And so a few of those things are, we've determined that the school, it's in the best interest of the district to keep this a single-story construction. In addition to that, building this in several separate buildings as opposed to one big mega building, because that gives us the ability to add on to it easier without disrupting others. It's just much easier to expand. And with the weather, we can really we can connect those with canopies or whatever and really make for a nice campus that really utilizes outdoor space as well. Probably looking at masonry construction. So CMU, concrete masonry units, a wood or steel roof, multiple buildings. Yeah. And then just some critical programming adjacencies, which I will go over next. So, a couple of other things. So looking at the site, how do you lay a building out on the site? And so we're going to show you some site ideas here in just a minute. We're going to ask for your comments on them. But some of the decisions we've made on that are related to trying to get good daylighting into classrooms, trying to get good efficiency from our HVAC by having proper orientations with relation to the sun. And so we've tried to orient buildings generally east and west, and so that we're getting south light and north light into the classrooms, and also lessen solar gain. The way the neighborhood's laid out, and as you go out there right now, there's just some cotton fields, and so it's not going to look anything like this. But we do have the plans from the developers who are donating the land to us, and we know what their neighborhood is going to lay out like. And so those streets that you see there, the yellow street that goes east to west, is our kind of main artery that gets us to the neighborhood. And so most of our auto traffic, and guys, I know this one's a little blurry. If you might poke around, these other TVs are a little bit more clear. If you can see, I know they're smaller, but they're a little bit more clear. And so most of the parent traffic for drop off and ideally would come off of that road. And then we're not bringing cars deep into the neighborhood where people are backing up in front of people's houses. And so you can see some secondary roads there in those purple that are our access that actually get us around our site, and we can have access from that, but we'd ideally not like to bring parent drop-off traffic off of that, but it does offer the opportunity to separate something like bus traffic where there might only be 5, 6, 7 buses per day. And all of those, the things you're looking at are in front of you as well. So a couple of other adjacencies. So this is what we call kind of like a bubble diagram. And it's really just showing you some things that we think about in terms of what are the big components of the site and what do they go next to? Like, for example, your gymnasium, you might want that to be near parking for after hours use. It might want to be nearest to play fields. How does admin relate to multipurpose? Where are classrooms related to all of those things? So if you're thinking about libraries and multipurpose, how do the students circulate throughout the day, and how do we get the most efficiency out of our time that we have with our students each day? So drilling down, if you take a little component of this and drill down a little bit deeper, you get this, which is to say, and I can't read this myself, I'm sorry guys. For example, admin, how does it needs to be adjacent to the lobby. It wants to be very close to pre and pre-K, and so they have a direct interaction with bringing students in and out. Pre-K needs to have its own play area. That we have proximity to parking. This is kind of that main part where people are bringing in, checking in students, and then the library itself, kind of the heart of the school. And so starting to arrange all of these things on the campus, you can see that there's that's kind of a big exercise in itself. And it's not just the building design, it's how the components of the buildings themselves arrange on the campus with the drop-offs, with the parking, with the play fields, and where do we put retention and all those things. And so those are some of the things that we've looked at on this next exercise. And so this is the point at which we are going to ask you guys to make your comments as best you can. And so that sheet that you see in front of you that has 2 site exercises on here, we have the same thing up here on a board. You should have markers or pens and pencils. You should have sticky notes. And so if you look at all the components on there, you could almost think of those as mixing and matching. So don't think of either one of these as a finished concept. Look at them from the perspective of we've taken a bunch of ideas on a site and put them together into 2 concepts. And so we'd like your comments on the things that you think work, things that you think don't work, things that you think would really make for a enlivening student experience, and things that you think might detract from that. And so you can look at those and make comments as you will. If you'd like to make comments directly on these things in front of you, that is welcome. We've also would welcome take the sticky notes and put them right up here so other people can see as well. And so either one is fine. And we're going to allow you guys about 10 minutes to do that. We'll see how it goes. Kristen and Juliana and Megan are here to answer questions as well, so please feel free to stick your hand up and holler.
David, I'm going to ask nicely if you can mute the speakers in the room so that Lisa and I could do a similar exercise online.
You guys know how to do that? Is that, we got that?
Lisa, can you share your screen or try to?
Yes, will do.
Yeah. So a couple items of note. Bus circulations. Yeah, they're off.
Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Absolutely. And if you zoom in a little more, that might help.
Sure.
I think perhaps the our online version will just go one at a time and see if anybody wants to unmute or if they want to put it in the chat. We're looking for pros and cons on each of these. So if we start with the option 1 and talk through, I think we might have a couple parents online. Talk through anything that you see. Lisa, do you want to talk through like the red and the yellow and sort of talk about what they are?
Sure. So we have a kind of a key off to the left, and basically the red and yellow represent circulation around the site.
Note there are some
The
other sheets
yellow is
under
indicating
there
our
as
bus
well. We will get to those in a
circulation.
minute. So if you guys just want to
Um,
concentrate
So
on
for
the site plans.
example, in our exploration, number 1, we're looking at bus circulation off to the north of the site. So you can see these arrows. Bus would turn around, drop off kids safely, and then have them walk into the site. And then the dashed line is the car circulation. So this is where you'd be entering in the site and dropping off kids via car. So as you can tell with our option number 1, we have this queuing distance that goes around parking lot number 1 and then kind of comes in front of our admin main area, drops kids off. They can either enter in the lobby admin area over here or go off into the main campus portion. But then with our circulation, or our car circulation, we can go out to the main road and not cross over any pedestrian traffic. And sorry, the blue dots represent pedestrian traffic as well, or circulation around the site.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm sure half of our online listeners might be making dinner or doing everything they need to do at home, but anybody want
How's everyone doing? Like just another minute or two? Anybody need more time? Okay, that's fine. I noticed some stickies around here. Can we go ahead and post those on the board? Do you mind? And I can help you with that. All right, guys, one more minute on this, and we're going to move on. Doesn't mean you can't continue to make notes during the process today and stick them up later, but just one more minute on this. All right, thank you, everyone. Could we go ahead and unmute us? Okay. All right, we are unmuted now. Like I said, if you guys are continuing to make notes, that's fine, and continue to work. We will hang out here as long as you want tonight. So if you want to come chat with us afterwards on some of your ideas, we welcome that. Or continue to send comments if you think of them tomorrow. That in mind, we're going to step into the next phase, which is looking beyond site, which is starting to look at some of the different design concepts within the building. And so we are going to go through a number of those today, but the first one is exterior concepts, and my colleague Kristen is going to take you through that.
Okay, thank you, David. So as you're working on this activity right now, which is really focusing on the big picture site and how things fit and lay out, and the beginnings of looking at how things circulate, like vehicles and people and cars, and how those things interact with each other. So that's kind of the big picture first thing that we're looking at, is we're trying to determine how things fit on the site. And the next thing that we really want to start to look at and get your feedback on is what the outdoor spaces feel like. And we've got, in the following pages in your book, the next 3 pages talk about, we pose this in the form of a question to you. So question on the first one, and we'll go through these one at a time, but just to give you an overview, the first one is on the landscaping. What would help create a welcoming landscape on this campus? The second one that we're going to look at is outdoor learning spaces, and then the third one that we're going to look at is what makes a welcoming space. So going back to the landscape, as you look at that image, and I've got the boards up here if you need to orient yourselves in your drawings, but this one right here, the question is, what would help create a welcoming landscape on your campus? And so when we put these images up, these are not images of what we're proposing your campus is going to look like. These are images just to evoke something, a sense of delight, a sense of exploration, a sense of shade and feeling secure. And so when you look at the images, we have dots on the table. We've got red and green dots. And so we would like you to take one red dot and put it on the image that you don't like. And we would like you to take 3 green dots and select 3 images you do like. And again, it's not to say this is the tree we're going to put on your site, but we just want to understand like things that make you feel a certain way. And you can also write comments on the papers. You could also take a Post-it and write a comment and come stick it on the board. And then we also have this whiteboard and a sheet at the end of the packet called the parking lot. And that is just for any idea you have that you want to share, whether it's related to this or not. Okay?
We want to put the dots on our boards up here, right?
Yeah. Ideally, we would want you to come up and put the dots on the board up here. You can use the packet to identify the things that you like, but if you want to put the dots on the board up front, that would be more helpful, because I'm not going to force it.
We should see more people coming up.
We could also.
And just one for
I mean, if you're feeling so
1 red and 3 green.
per person.
Yeah.
We're only focusing on the first board right now, which is the landscape. So when you look at these images, what do you see that feels welcoming to you? Or is there something about the purple flowers on the tree that you like? What about the materials of the landscape, or the what you see in the courtyard building? Yeah, that would be, if you could put them up here, that would be great. And you don't have to tell us why you like or don't like it, but if you want to provide feedback, that would be helpful as well. Whitney, are your kids in this district? Are you?
I fell in love with some stuff. I think this
Which is on the other side of the 101 or the 10.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have my whole dots.
Goodness gracious, you cut out everything. I did not touch. I tried. I was way back here. Yeah, tell me about it. Did you work on color inspired?
Oh, no, I was not on that.
Apparently nothing's loosey goosey. Building power lines.
And a lot of these K-12s were
Frank's a real expert.
solar development and stuff, and so they teamed up with solar. I was actually to be all my guys are just back together. This is
Can you get out of there now?
so that was when I first met him. We've always kept in touch since. Yeah,
I'm working with their transportation project across.
We ran out of FD.
We gotta get the active. I know, I'm like,
They have to give everybody a right on something, but I don't want to repeat it.
I'm gonna say yes. Adoption units were.
Okay, how are we doing? Are we ready to move on?
It's 6, so it's 9. It's 9 people who have to put their stuff. 1, 2, 3.
All right, is there anybody else who would like to come add their dot to the board up here?
I feel like there's not enough dots.
Who's not participating? We're going to call you out. Oh. Minnie, calling them out. Crack that whip. I feel like I'm proctoring a bingo package grows. Yeah. Yep, yep. That's awesome. Okay, it looks like we can move on. All right, so this next look and feel exercise with the dots has to do with what an outdoor learning space for students should feel like and your opinions on that. So the images that we have here, again, you would want to look at things that give you the sense of a welcoming space. What is the color? Is it a playful space? Is it whimsical? Does it evoke a sense of exploration? Is it a space that works functionally and practically as an outdoor learning space? So we have some images that kind of span some different ideas, and we would like to get your feedback on that. So similar, you get 1, I don't like this, red dot, and you get 3, green, I love this, or I like it. And go ahead and put those up on the board here for us.
When they step out like that, you feel like the Paul Winslow archetype thing.
I never thought about that before.
When they were in the old building, they used to like.
Yeah. 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 What are they talking about? Yeah.
Like this one time, like Paul started like going off on something, and all of a sudden Herman just like steps in and goes, "Oh, Paul, can I go work with you outside now?"
Oh my gosh, I could totally hear Herman's stern voice.
Yeah, and Paul's like, and you can see through the frosted glass.
Oh my God. Parents not getting along in front of the children.
Yes. 1 green. No, 3 green, 1 red. 3 green. Yeah.
The sunset is pretty out there. Got a lot of feedback. A lot of people are writing on their sheets too. So is this one con? Gathering group? Is this just the one con? I'm assuming these are.
Tough turning radius for larger vehicles. Or drop off tough. Oh. You shouldn't be in a big vehicle.
Yeah. I don't know. I had a long conversation with a pre-K teacher about the parking drop-off, like this one versus this one. And she said, like, this situation right now, they already kind of have where parents will drop the kids off somewhere out here, and then the kids are running through the parking lot. So that's something to think about. Whereas this one, she said, it's much better because they drop the kids off here, and they can see.
You come and drop the kids off.
And I guess maybe if, because we've got the multi-purpose here, like this is a natural wanna drop off place, but we kind of have that here as well. But I think it's just something, she was asking about fencing too, it's just something that we need to consider when we do the fencing. Maybe there's just a low fence all along here where you can't drop your kids off.
Well, I wonder if you took all this parking, you turned it this way, like this, and then you put a fence along here.
Oh yeah.
And then you'd have people this way walk through the aisles, but then you'd make like a little cut through for like pedestrians to pass through, because now they're cutting through here.
Yep. That could be a nice connection to the.
Tempe Academy at McCamey was, I think, the nicest sort of drop-off parking interface to the building of anyone.
We should do a case study on that. We should do a case study with that.
I don't know they don't have a ton. I don't know if it's the best drop-off because it doesn't have a ton of queuing, nicest sort of experience
Oh,
from
yeah.
a parking building interface.
I'd like to see it.
Hi.
Yes.
Someplace, it's just an idea
Yeah.
for the outside stuff.
Yeah. Well, we could put it. Does it kind of go with either one of these, or if not, we could put it on that board over there.
I'd say that one.
This one, okay.
Yeah, because I was just thinking with the
Mhm.
areas to have some large fans.
Yes. Yeah. Agreed. Especially in the
Especially
like
it just doesn't look really positive.
right, but
especially in
even
something like
even
that.
like in this one here, yeah, I
because
could
it's
see
gonna
that.
be
Yep.
if you've got a blocked end, you're gonna have
Yeah,
to use
just get that air moving.
I don't like that at all.
It's not even mixed at all. Like if you're red, you're red. I just
Yeah,
don't like
right. Clearly, no, we will not be doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even this.
Yeah. A lot of likes here. This has a very nice soft, a lot of
This one's interesting.
filtered light.
Kay was like, it looks like some side of someone's garage.
Yeah.
And there's the basketball court.
Right.
Like, yeah, that's a good point. It does look like a driveway.
Right here?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Doesn't it look
yeah.
like a driveway?
It
And then you
is,
got
yeah.
The neighbor's basketball.
Well,
I
you're
think
looking
I
at
think we
color.
were looking at the landscape on this one. Yeah.
It always looks so good in the pictures, and then kids are trampling it.
I
You know what I
know.
mean? Kids are walking across it.
Walk on the grass.
Exactly.
Okay, are we ready to move on to the third look and feel board for outdoor space? Okay, this is the last one for this part of the exercise, and this board is all about gathering spaces for both students, well, for all students, staff, and parents. So this is looking kind of bigger picture at, like, for example, an outdoor amphitheater space, or the outdoor communal area that the buildings open out to, or I'm not going to say playground, but a play area, and where kids would eat their lunch, for example. Like if there was an outdoor space, what would that feel like for kids that are eating outside? So go ahead and again, just take a look at the different images and be thinking about what's welcoming, what feels good. Do you like the color of it? Do you like the fact that it has a lot of shade? Do you not like the fact that it doesn't evoke a sense of curiosity? So just go ahead and put your stickers up here when you're ready.
Yeah. Okay.
Carmen just sent me a text saying we're all muted.
What's that? Like 5 and over the winter break, so it's nice to once they're 5 and sometimes it's way yeah.
What's your favorite?
I think I probably would go with, oh gosh, Blue Horizon has all the little areas where you pull out areas.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that we have wrapped up that first community fun activity. And are you ready to move on to the second activity now? Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Megan. She's our interior designer, and she's going to go over a similar idea with the look and the feel and putting some dots and exploring ideas of things, images that you like or don't like with regard to the interiors. But before we jump into that, we have one last look and feel of overall space. And that is what would make the school feel welcoming to students and give it character. So this is a much broader category. So with these images, you want to take a look at things that range from the way color interests you, the way one of these images might show, you know, a small environment, a small intimate environment. So how does this lead to a playful space? Look at things that show materiality, whether it's the material itself or the texture of the material. Things that can allow a sense of exploration. So that's what this board right here is. And then we're going to move into some interior stuff and then we'll wrap it up. Same with the dots. Yep. Are you? Did you? And when you look at these images, also look at it in the sense that if you were going to define what the character of the school would feel like, how would that represent in one of these images? I would refer to that as a nook, yeah.
And this is a cocktail lounge?
Yeah.
This is a cocktail.
Well, it depends. On your age group. That's the teacher's lounge.
Teacher lounge.
Yes. That's the speakeasy. You have to find it in the building. Okay.
Clearly, I can't count towards me. You did? Put her right on top of it. I'm just coloring. Thinking like a contractor. Right? Yeah. You're looking at my pre-contest here. Maybe raising the hand. What is the easiest to be?
No more stickers for you.
Yeah, right? Yeah, seriously, you can't take that out. Yeah. The community said so.
Mm-hmm. Pam. Oh, Pam. Oh my God. He goes, I haven't laughed that hard in so long. He said, so Brian, I was on the phone with him for something, and he starts laughing, like belly laughing, and then he couldn't get out. I was like, what? And he goes, I just had a. It's so funny. A calendar invite come from him, and it said hammy hour instead of happy hour.
Oh, yeah. And it was like, and I was like, how did no one think of that?
Yeah,
Like,
that was
I
so
I was
funny.
typing it, I'm like, how did I never think of this before?
That'll be a thing forever now.
Yeah. No, like I will not. Like I will put hammy hour now too.
He was telling me,
Yeah. Does he really?
he goes, listen to him. He goes, it sounds like like he kind of talks like a white guy, but the way he goes, the way he pauses, he's like,
What else was he? What other big things were there? You know that have you ever? Do you know John Dowd? John Dowd for my team.
No.
He's tall and really skinny. He's the sweetest kid. I mean, I'm not kidding. He's the sweetest.
He wasn't at the happy hour.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was.
He was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was.
really tall guy there. Yeah.
always got nice jeans on,
In a sport
button-up
coat.
shirt,
Yep.
and like tan shoes.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
All the time. And so every time, like, if he calls, we'll be on mute and we'll go at the same time. Hey, Tara. Hey. And so now every time he listens, so the other day.
That's what he does.
Yeah, he does it. So the other day he logs in. I'm like, hey, John. He goes, you stop that.
I don't remember to do that.
Yeah.
No, his other name, I don't remember any. They weren't
We're getting there. Yeah. It is going really well.
I'm always self-conscious seeing
I
myself.
Oh, I know. All of us.
My own forehead keeps getting larger
Oh,
as I get
no.
older.
It's distinguished.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so
Okay, got you. Three board members. A few parents, but that's okay. A lot of staff, so it's good. At the end, when I'll speak at the end on the last slide.
Okay. So now we're moving on to the very last look and feel, and I'm going to turn this part over to Megan, and she's going to go through interiors.
So we wanted to bring two concepts today. So what is a design concept? So for us, a design concept is a theme or story that we want to tell throughout the space. And what a concept does for the design team is it really lets us have a story to go back to, so that we're making sure that between all buildings, whether it's exterior to interior, that the story kind of stays the same. So tying it all together. So what you're seeing up here are two concepts. We actually call these concepts and mood boards. So the idea with a mood board is that it's provoking some type of emotion. So today we brought two very different concepts. And so for the first concept is this idea of the marketplace of creativity. So the concept statement is a marketplace allows people to gather, connect, and showcase their unique and crafted goods. The marketplace feels local, warm, and lively, fostering a sense of community and belonging. So some of the buzzwords for this palette is looking at more saturated colors. Maybe it's a little bit more colorful textures, kind of on the idea of exploration and these handcrafted moments. We were actually inspired by, as you're driving through town, looking at some of those little marketplaces that you see on the side of the road. So that was where we drew inspiration for this marketplace for creativity and how we could start to apply that to interiors. So allowing students and users of the space to break off into little groups and showcase their creativity and collaboration. And the second concept focuses more on this idea of the journey of water. So with the site having, canals and being really close to the Gila River, kind of this idea of water came down to us. So the idea that water and its like travel of motion and flow, and its ability to adapt to any situation, and kind of water being like the essence of life. So the idea with the first palette is it's a little bit more bold and saturated, as the second palette becomes a little bit more natural, curvy, the ideas of reflection in nature. So we want you to come up and take one green dot. So it's a little different on this exercise. If you have a favorite concept, and maybe even writing some additional comments why, or if you want to tell us why, but if you can kind of vote on a concept that you're leaning towards.
It's disorganized.
No, I'm not saying that either, but it's like,
Okay, it looks like we are wrapping up now. I just want to go over what the next steps are going to be. So this is just, as Dr. Monroe stated in the beginning, this is just one, the first of our community engagement activities. So we have another parent meeting and teacher meeting, engagement meeting scheduled for February 27th from 5 to 6:30. That will be here in the governing boardroom. Also, if you could please make sure that that everybody signed the sign-in sheet with your email. We would like to keep everybody as involved as we can. And if you want to stay after and have any additional thoughts, or you just want to chat, we're here to bounce questions. And we have the board right there with Juliana is our parking lot where you can park all your ideas, whether they had to do with anything we talked about here tonight or not. Go ahead and put them there, and we will be memorializing all of this information as a part of our design process moving forward. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Monroe now. Thank you.
To give them to you. Okay, any notes that you guys made also and online, if you can make sure that DLR gets those so we can collect those and memorialize them. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. For those who are online, thank you for participating. Like was mentioned, this is the first of many meetings, and we appreciate your excitement. I think we're going to have a very special school here in 2025. So we'll hang around. Thank you, and drive safe.